Safe to say that right now, HBCU athletics is in the best position it may have ever been in terms of notoriety, recognition, et cetera, et cetera. Are you of that mindset?
I do think, I'm thinking about when Coach Robinson, Big House Games, them guys, when they was there, we got the recognition that we deserved at that time. But I think now in this environment, we need a little more recognition. I think Dion has turned it up a little bit. Eddie George has turned it up.
Tennessee State, yes.
Yeah, and I think the schools have said to themselves, you know what, we got to put a little more attention to HBCU athletics and make it rise a little bit.
The issue of name, image, and likeness has really come into the fold, come into the mind's eye with everybody. Being able to profit off of your name, image, likeness, NIL is what it's called. How beneficial do you believe that's going to be to HBCU programs and HBCU athletes?
That's something that bothers me a little bit from an HBCU standpoint.
Okay.
See, I don't think at the HBCU we're going to get as much as the other schools. And I look at it from the standpoint, if you got an NIL, I think the whole school should be involved in it. And hopefully some Fortune 500 look at it from that standpoint and say, you know what, we're not just going to take an individual. Now, at the other big schools, they do it because they go out and tell somebody,
right,
I'm recruiting this guy, we need an NIL. But it's hard to do that at the HBCU.
Let me lock in on the black quarterback. You are the first African-American quarterback to win a Super Bowl championship. We all know this. Okay, when you take that into consideration and you think about Russell Wilson just signing, for over $200 million, $165 million in guaranteed dollars. Kyler Murray, $189.5 million guaranteed dollars. Deshaun Watson, $230 million guaranteed dollars. And Lamar Jackson holding out for at least that amount of bag. How do you feel about the state of the black quarterback in this day and age right now?
Well, I do think this. I think the guys that you just mentioned that have gotten paid, the guys who are still negotiating, they speak for themselves because they can play. I think there's a lot of guys out there that can play backup that they don't give an opportunity to. But you got to be happy for the guys who made the money or making the money that they're making. It's unbelievable from the standpoint when I played up until this day. And it lets you know that if you can play that position, and we got a lot of guys coming up, and that's the good part about it, but that's a lot of money, and it's hard to imagine getting paid that kind of money or negotiating for that kind of money and not taking that kind of money or what have you. It's tough.
The one thing I will lament is that as I sit here, stand on this field, obviously for the Black College Football Hall of Fame Classic, I think about the fact that we just finished lamenting the state of affairs in the National Football League in terms of the number of African Americans who are head coaches. Don't get me started with the number of African Americans who are qualified to be executives, but that ain't the case. And because of that, we can't even get to ownership. How do you feel about the state of football overall as it pertains to African American men?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm with you when you talk about coaches, man, because there's too many good coaches out there that are not coaching, and you give people an opportunity or recycle people that opportunity, and you don't give these guys who are really qualified to be head coach. I got a problem with that. And even from the administrative standpoint, there's a lot of guys out there. It all depends on the owner, and that's the problem. It ain't the fact that they're not qualified, there ain't nothing in the pipeline. It's the ownership making that decision, and the decision's got to be based on your football team, not who you like or who you can sit to go to dinner with or anything like that. And I think that's what is happening, who you're comfortable with. And I think that's how a lot of guys are getting hired and they're not comfortable with us. And I think that's the most important thing. And that's what the NFL, Troy and them try to do, is bring these guys in and let them sit with these owners and let them understand who they are. So when that cycle come back up, this guy, give him an opportunity.
Well, I got a solution to all of that. We got to make enough noise where we can get some black ownership in the National Football League, and maybe then things will change.
I agree with you.
Absolutely.
Right.
The great Doug Williams. You heard him, Molly. Back to you.
Thanks.